Hi, my name is Abraham Laboriel, and the song we just heard is called Alegría from my band Koinonia, from the album of the same title, Koinonia. You know, the purpose of this video is to encourage you and to inspire you, and more than anything else, to give back a little bit of the beauty and the joy and the love that I have experienced as a bass player for so many years. And I want to share some of my way of thinking, my way of being. I want to tell you that I have discovered that the most important thing of being a bass player is precisely that, to play the bass. To play the bass in a way that it supports whoever you're playing with, that accompanies them, that inspires them, that encourages them, that protects them, and that gives them a good feel. And as the video continues, I'll try to illustrate all of these different things, one way or another. You know, dialoguing with all the people in the industry is so important. Producers, artists, managers, engineers, one another as musicians, dialogue a lot. Ask them not from a perspective of insecurity, but from a perspective of trying to discover what more can be done to make it better, more beautiful, more fun. And through my years, I've discovered that dialogue sharpens one another, makes us better, challenges us, but it makes us better. And I hope that at the end of this video, you would want to play the bass that way. The reason being that in talking with all different people in the industry, other bass players have said to me, Abraham, tell them that if they are only interested in stepping out and being noticed and being the center of attention, that maybe they should consider a different instrument. And I am saying that to you seriously. Bass players are to be supportive of other musicians. There will be times when you can step out and be the center of attention. But remember, there's nothing wrong with just creating a beautiful foundation upon which other instruments can do their thing. And if you are not enjoying supporting other people, then change instruments. That's why there are so many different ones out there. And my concept of bass playing has been described, and I agree, as someone that is actually a drummer playing bass. And I'll be able to illustrate that more precisely later on. But I think of the bass really as a drum, as a percussive instrument that creates a strong rhythmic foundation. And if you watching this video happen to be beginners with no idea about music or about bass, I would like to suggest that first you study a little bit about ear training and some basic foundations on music and just become very familiar with your instrument so that later on you can apply the things that we are going to be sharing in this video to your own playing. But if you are a beginner and you've never played music or the bass, I think that there will be things in this video that are for all of us to enjoy together. You know, I want to introduce you to some of these instruments that you see here. Through the years, I've been very blessed and fortunate to participate in many, many recordings. This is an Italian-made Goya bass, and they don't make it anymore. In the early days, it had 4 buttons here, and all the musicians in Los Angeles would say, Abraham, here, let us see your Sears and Roebuck bass. And because this was the only instrument I had no choice but to play this instrument. And I've really been very blessed because I visited the world traveling with Henry Mancini and Johnny Mathis, and eventually I made a live album in Europe with Al Jarreau on this bass, and Olivia Newton-John, and the Supremes, Diana Ross, Lee Ritenour, Larry Carlton, so many recordings I've been able to do this in the first 4 years of my career with this bass. Then things started to expand, and the next instrument I got was this Yamaha, which originally was a 4-string bass. That there's a beautiful store in Los Angeles called Valley Arts. They converted it to a 5-string bass, and then another technician named Jim Tyler changed the electronics. So this now has become a 5-string bass, and it's been used in many recordings, like with Lionel Richie, All Night Long, and TV themes, films. I don't know, so many recordings through the years. And then I have this 8-string model made by Valley Arts, and the story behind this bass is one that many times brings tears to my eyes, because it took almost a year and a half to make. It was made so very carefully and so lovingly, and then one day they presented it to me. And this is my latest Valley Arts bass, a 4-string bass that uses 2 necks, which is an exclusive Valley Arts design, so that by quickly, within 10 minutes, taking the strings off, you can exchange the necks, and some special design that they have made keeps all the strings perfectly in tune, so that you don't need to change the bridge, and you don't need to make any adjustments. And this is a fretless neck, and this is a fretted neck. And it's definitely one of the loves of my life. And to make a long story short, one of my most recent basses is a new 5-string Yamaha that has special pickups that are wired all the way from the back, called PCO pickups, so that it listens to the full length of the string, and it gives it a clarity and a brilliance that is really beautiful, fantastic. You'll be able to listen to all of this throughout the video. And you know, from I was born and raised in Mexico. And in Mexico, one of the most important instruments is the guitarrón. And Ernie Ball made this fretted guitarrón, so that now I can play my roots, you know. And I've been making many recordings with this instrument. And you know something? I am not known as an upright player, but I brought it because I wanted to share with you this story. I received a phone call from Quincy Jones to do The Color Purple. And he says, "Abraham, bring your upright." So I said to him, you know, because of basically not having time, I have a great love for the upright, but I don't have the time to develop the intonation that is all on the left hand. I said to Quincy, "Is it okay if the intonation is not very good?" He says, "Yes, because the music that we're doing is in the style of the 30s, and in those days, the feeling of the bass was more important than the intonation." So I brought it, and much to my surprise, he had half of Count Basie's band, half of Duke Ellington's band there. And I was really embarrassed, but we played the Shoogie's theme in that film, and I played the upright, and uh-oh, the engineer says to Quincy very loudly, says, "Quincy, are you sure you want the bass in this recording?" And Quincy says, "Yes, yes, yes, this is the sound of the 30s. And then for everybody to hear in the studio, there were about maybe 25 big band musicians, he says, "The bass is really out of tune." Yes, that was Laura, but she's only a dream. Anyway, you might notice that some of the techniques that I use are known as rhythmic interpretations. On the upcoming book that shows all of this very clearly, the way the song is written is like this, you know. So the reason why I call it rhythmic interpretation is because from that I added what you saw. And that is based on what's known as creativity, or basically just spontaneity, making use of your experience to bring something fresh or new or a different perspective to things that are very basically stated. And so thinking in terms of 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So keeping that tempo in mind, that's what you just saw, where I went on. So the rhythmic interpretation, it's different while still respecting what's on paper, you know, and etc., etc., etc. The other thing is that as far as structured improvisation, what that means in very few words is that a composer writes a song that has a specific structure, which means that there are certain numbers of bars, in this case 32, that keep repeating over and over. The same chord progression is being respected over and over again. Within that structure, instead of playing the melody the way the composer wrote, you start playing your own feelings of how you feel about that song or about that chord or about that particular moment. And from that is that most musicians that enjoy the art of improvisation have to apply what's called chord scales and arpeggios, you know, so that the first chord, in this case being G minor 9, the chord that goes with that comes derived from an F major 7 scale, starting in G and ending in G, which in terms of theory and all of that is known as a mode, the Dorian mode. And then from that, which also is part of what you just saw me do in Laura. And this is not the place or the time to just go in great depth in these techniques, but I just want you to be aware as to what's going through my heart as I start taking a song that's well known like that, and then shifting its meaning in terms of rhythm, the rhythmic interpretation, and then improvising my own melodies within that same structure. The other technique that through the years I have become known for is the one of a four-finger technique. In classical guitar playing, the most developed classical guitar teachers come from Spain, so the names of the fingers for classical guitar playing are in Spanish. The thumb is called P. Why? Because in Spanish it's pulgar. The index finger is called I, because in Spanish is índice. The middle finger is called M, because in Spanish is el medio. And so you have P, I, A, and then the ring finger in Spanish is called A for anular. Anular comes from anillo, which means ring. Hey, we're coinciding. So the technique that I use when I use a four-finger technique is like this. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, P-I-M-A, 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 in any string. And basically what happens is that if you want to play different melodies using that technique, you can go P-I-M-A, P-I-M-A. And then all combining these four fingers over and over. So you have, in terms of some of the useful patterns that I'll be illustrating later on, would be like you have the P, then the I-M-A, then there's all the other combinations that most guitarists know from folk music. You know, you have the all are P-I-M-A. Then you can reverse them, you know, P-A-M-I, P-A. So when your creativity starts being used, you can alter them in any of the many combinations. Since there's 4 of them, I believe there is maybe 8 or 9 different permutations. And then the other thing that I do is I use a 5-finger technique, which is not traditional, in which, for the sake of simplicity, we can call them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And for that, the advantage of being able to do that is so that you can do incredible tremolos, like a... which is something that is one of my favorite things to do when I'm free to improvise in those particular ways, using a 5-finger technique. Then, in terms of different styles of music, like if you're playing a walking bass line, then whichever finger is available of the 5, you can introduce, you know. All of that is done with 5-finger technique. All of these lines, which require one to just slightly tap on the fingers, you know, on the strings, all 5 fingers, and then you think what is the logical place that you want to land in so that you can still function as a bass player. So if the name of the chord is a C chord, so you do F, E, A, etc., etc., etc. Whatever the chord is, the 5-finger technique can be used to land in the desired notes that you are supposed to be landing in. Another one of my favorite techniques is the 3-finger technique, P-I-M. And in the Friendship record, we played an introduction that was something like this, you know. So that up to speed is like a And I call it triplets because that's what they are, you know, 1, 2, 3. One, you know, 3 notes per beat, so that rhythmically you start thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but in reality you're playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then fast becomes, you know. So then that's when we start combining different techniques of going to the 5 finger and then the triplets. Another technique is triplet hammering. Hammering is traditionally done on the left hand so that you can play without using your right hand. And the triplet aspect of it comes from the right hand. So you have 1, 2 on the left hand, 3 on the right hand. So, you know, and then so up to speed, it feels like this. Which is one of the things that I like to do a lot. So 1, 2. Instead of doing like the older kind of triplets, which are, these ones are combination of 2 notes because of the hammering. You have to use more than 1 note. So rhythmically, we think in terms of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1. In the subject of thinking like a drummer, drummers do exercises known as rudiments. The most basic is the paradiddle, and it's called paradiddle because it sounds like paradiddle, paradiddle, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. Apply that to the bass, and it becomes like this. You know, 1 and 1, 1, 2 and 1, 1. You know. So that depending on what you want to express at that moment, you can use different approaches to the same concept of playing paradiddles with your instrument, you know. So there's many, many different colors that can be used depending on how you use your hands and your fingers. Another technique that has become definitely one of my, not necessarily overused, but very favorite, is the rocking of the right hand. And the right hand rocks kind of like that against the strings. And then combining with some of this triple hammering approach, you have, you know, 1 and 2, you know, 1 and 2, 3, 4, then that works for me better on the upper or the lower three strings, lower in terms of pitch, closer to you, your face. So upper physically, but lower sound-wise. So that's the fourth string, then the third string, the second string. But then for the first string, it's better to do it coming from the other side of the bass, closer to your feet. So that if the music is not necessarily divided in those kinds of triplets, if you have something that's more of an 8-note feel, you know, 1, 2, 3, that being the 8 notes, then you do so that's the rocking of right hand. And then that also can be done slowly or fast, whichever way is more comfortable or what's called for in that particular song. Another technique is just the up and down strokes with the thumb. Traditionally, most bass players hit the string with the fleshy part of the thumb, like that. I don't do that. I have a way of going back and forth. And then doing that technique combined with the triplets that I use, that I talked about earlier, you have so you have down, hammering, then up stroke. Down, hammering, up stroke. Down, hammering, up stroke. Down, hammering, up stroke. Now, rhythmically, to keep track of whether you're playing triplets or actually 16ths, that's something that your own sense of rhythm will start showing you as you start trying to apply these things. So, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, those are 16ths, you know. And the triplets would be, so that musically there's certain adjustments that you have to make it fit with a song. So those are just some illustrations of the different things that I do with the right hand. Then one other option, thinking as a drummer, is to play with my fingernails, hitting the strings, and that's known as the strum rolls. When people strum guitars, they strum them by going like this. And if you start playing with your fingernails, you basically hold each finger as if you were playing marbles against your thumb, and then let the finger hit the string that way. So it is like a... And what I do is I do 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that order. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then as the speed increases, it becomes the strum roll. and then you just start applying your creativity and creating a feeling of whatever the moment also calls for. The other one is moving your fingers up and down against the same string, like this. So that if you don't want to do it with the thumb, you can do it with the up and down motion of the fingers. And then that creates also a very nice effect. This is a little bit more advanced in terms of the combination of the triplets and the hammering and the up and down movement. So it's like so you have striking the string, hammering, bringing the finger up. So striking, hammering, up, striking down, hammering, and up like that. So that your hand just starts doing this kind of a thing, but the sounds that you hear don't necessarily relate to the way the hand looks. So I'll try to slow it down. This is the percussive open right hand palm, hitting the bass with the palm of the hand, and it's really more of a percussive effect, although there are ways of using it melodically. So Then there is a two-hand combination, which really requires some independization rhythmically, like 1, 2, 1, 2, you know. So it's more rhythmically than anything else. The other one is that I snap the strings with my thumb and with my fingers, so that in this technique, instead of hitting the string against the fingerboard that way, I snap that way. So with the thumb underneath the string, and that usually distorts the sound of the pickups, but for rhythmic effect, it's very, very nice. So when you combine both fingers this way and then pulling up with the other fingers, the thumb and then the other fingers, and then the famous disco sound, you know. And the way that I developed it was and that requires some hammering on the left hand, so you have pulling with the thumb, pulling with the finger, and then hammering. So 1, 2, you know. And rhythmically, once again, we have to concentrate on where the beat is, where the feeling of the music is, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that, you know, all these different rhythmic variations. Finally, strumming with your whole right hand. Once again, also for percussive effect. On the song that Justo and I were doing together, Abrazos y Besos, I was strumming constantly with my right hand, so that the feeling was like, you know. So in the context of a blues type of a thing, you would do like a so that's strumming with the whole right hand. And if I try to slow that down, it's a combination of all the five-finger technique that I was talking about earlier, and then letting your hand loosely just caress the strings, keeping sense internally where the time is, and then you just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then translate it to sound, you know. So that's the one with chords. There is the more traditional with octaves in the style of Wes Montgomery, where he plays with the thumb very gently and then in octaves. So by strumming down and then back up, I want to talk about some general musical concepts. And once again, it is very hard to go into any kind of depth, but I feel that it is important that I touch on these things a little bit just for general information, with the understanding and with the hope that, that each one of you, as you develop an interest in any of these things that I'm talking about, I'm sure that you will find ways of rewinding your machine and watching that passage over and over again, and hopefully finding people that you can dialogue with about these things so that they will become part of the fabric of your life and of your playing. One of them is reharmonization. I love the concept that all the chords in the world are named from the bass, which means that a bass player can never make a mistake. He just changed the name of the chord. And in the case of a C triad, you know, if the bass becomes an F, that becomes a C over F, and that has a sound similar of an F major 7 of sorts with a 9. And things like that, where the bass player always has the freedom of saying, okay, if this is the chord, I can play the root, I could play the third, I could play the 7th, I could play the 9th. And the idea is that the strongest bass note is always going to be the note that the composer intended to be the name of the chord. So if he wants to call the chord an F, chord of some sort, an F is always going to be the strongest. But it's good and it's beautiful to have a working knowledge of the whole chord, so that as a bass player, you can build beautiful lines. You can move around, but always keeping in mind that whenever some strong statement needs to be made, the other musicians, the composer, and even you as a bass player need to play the root. But because of that, there is a wonderful sense of reharmonization that can take place. Like if I take a chord, I mean a chord progression, like 1, 6, 2, 5, in the key of F, F, D, G, and C, then as a bass player, I can reharmonize it. And creating all the colors around those same familiar chord progressions, you know. Then there is the rhythmic harmony, where you can do so that even though the other musicians might be playing chords more normally, as a bass player there are all those other avenues available to express a richness in music. And I hope that you can explore this in more depth. The other aspect that I wanted to share with you is about all the different ethnic influences that come out in my playing in different recording situations and in live playing in general. Songs are written for a reason, and they all have a specific character that they are born with. But then in the process of repeating them over and over and over and over again, if the context in which you're playing is one that invites that kind of freedom, then you can treat it as a reggae song, or as a Brazilian song, or as a Honduran song, or Colombian, or African. And I'll try to illustrate very quickly some of these feelings. In the traditional 4/4 concept, you know, we have, let's take, for instance, a C7 going to an F7 chord progression, you know. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. In reggae, the guitarist will traditionally be doing that type of a thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. Then, you know, same chord progression in the Brazilian comes to the half. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The bass player will be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then a beautiful Brazilian rhythm that I learned from Oscar Castro Neves involves a combination of rhythms where he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that it becomes like a constant rhythmic displacement. And I love that because it sounds like a never-ending type of a feeling. My parents are born in Honduras, Central America, and they have a rhythm called the hungu, which is the dialect that they speak, and it means Garifuna, Caribbean people. and they have a 6/8 rhythm that goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in the same chord progression would be, C, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, F, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the Colombians have the famous cumbia, and traditionally chord progressions in cumbia are like between 1 and 5. So if we are in C, it would be C going to G7, going to C major. And they, if you think in 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Like that.
El pan blanco Wonder gusta tanto en México y en Estados Unidos porque tiene un
4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. So C, 7, F, 7. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So all of these different influences make music richer. How to apply these kinds of ideas to traditional songs is based on the dialogue. You talk with your friends, you talk with the producers, you talk with the artists, and if they want any of these ideas in their songs, they will agree or they will disagree. But it's important to communicate about it, to be a servant to them. Songs that are traditional, typical waltzes, many times we do a recording session like Welcome By, or any songs that are in 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you have the C7 and the F7. Well, usually I try to think of Argentinian samba spelled with a Z. And the feeling for that is 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then, if you want to talk about traditional African music, now that it has become so popular with the different influences from South Africa and Senegal and Nigeria, some of the bass lines that I've been able to bring to traditional music would be like if you have the 1, 2, 3, 4, your F, and then the C. Three, 4. 3, 4. 1, 4. And you need to have all the musicians with whom you can agree in what direction you're going to take the music. So once again, dialogue. In my relationships with musicians from all over the world, I've been very strongly influenced by Peruvian music. And one of the lines that my beautiful friend has showed me is like, and that's also in 3, 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1. So the idea is to have a richer experience. Lalo Schifrin says that Venezuelan music reminds him of Boogie Boogie in 6. And because they do. So it's usually going like the root, the third, and the fifth, but in octaves and in 3, you know. And then Mexico, which is where I grew up and I was born there. We have many different rhythms that involve the strumming, and one is called the huapango, you know. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that just will give you a few choices that, when it's appropriate, try to bring them to the people that you're working with. Try to learn, try to listen, and we hope that so much of what we're sharing with you, it's really of help to you and an inspiration.